Especially as a martial arts beginner, you get a lot of different tips from a lot of different people. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some are intelligent, some are just dumb. And the difficulty is now to sort out which tip is actually a good one and which is really just dumb advice. Because everybody can give you tips, may that be your trainer, your instructor, or your friend that is doing martial arts, maybe some other style, or maybe even some martial arts influencers, some martial arts YouTubers out there on YouTube. And in the beginning it can be hard to have an overview, and therefore I asked some of the martial arts YouTubers in the game what was the dumbest tip that you ever got in your martial arts career. And exactly this you saw in the last video I uploaded last week. If you have not watched it yet, then you should definitely watch it after this video here. I will link it down in the description and also here in the YouTube cards. And in this video here I will give you the best tips that all the martial arts influencers have collected together all in one video. So I basically just asked what was the tip, what was the advice that took your martial arts game to the next level? What was the game changer in your skill set? And this tip is now coming from the martial arts YouTubers. Let's go.
Sifu Christoph, Ando here from Happy Life Martial Art. One of the best pieces of training advice I ever got was to do your homework. That means to do most of your work at home, outside of class. When you come to class, it's not realistic to think you're going to improve your skills very much. You come to class to get information, corrections, and guidance, but you get your sweat outside of class. That's where the real work is done, either on your own or finding a like-minded training partner to meet up with. So get your sweat outside of class. Then when you come back to class, show your teacher what you've been working on. Then your teacher can give you more information, corrections, and guidance. So get your sweat outside of class. Do your homework. Another great piece of advice I got from martial arts training is this: how you train is how you fight. If you want to run fast, you can't just jog. You have to go run some sprints. If you want to hit hard, you can't just throw medium speed strikes in the air all the time. Go get a heavy bag and hit it as hard as you can. The problem in the martial arts is that there are so many cool exercises and drills that you can do, but you can get distracted and focus on being really good at those exercises and drills and forget about the actual skills that they were designed to help you with. Maybe you're great at your forms, but if you're not fighting, you're not going to get better at fighting. Maybe you're in really great shape, you can do full splits and you have abs, but if you're not fighting, you're not going to get better at fighting. So make sure that your goals and your training match up. Don't get distracted by being great at these conditioning exercises that don't actually get you where you want to go.
Hey, what's up? This is Sifu Kuttel. Now, the best piece of advice that I have is follow every training session with a moment of reflection. Now, a great way of doing this is just to get a notebook and write everything down. That way you can always go back and reference and really see how far you've come in your progression. Now, when you take the time after your workout, everything is fresh in your head and you can figure out where you've made your biggest steps and your biggest achievements, and you can see what contributed to that. And you can also see what your failures or your shortcomings were and come up with a plan of attack for your next session. Now, this really helps out in your overall training progression, and especially if you have goals of working through the martial arts and getting to advanced levels, this is a great way of doing it.
And this leads me on to the good advice that I've heard, the first of which is find your style. Everyone has a body and mind that is going to work slightly different from other people. If you're trying to fight exactly like somebody else fights, you're gonna fight badly because you're not them. You have to be aware of what you're good at and bad at and experiment in your training to find the niche that you fit into. The sooner you can find a style that works best for you, the sooner you can start honing that and elevating your game. The second piece of good advice I've heard is get in shape. Fighting and martial arts requires athleticism. Sure, you can say that skill beats size and strength, but go try and wrestle an elephant. Being big, being strong, being fast, and being explosive are really important in fighting. Going to the gym will help you become a better martial artist and a better fighter.
The three best tips I got in martial arts are, of course, from my Sifu, Martin Saver, and the first is to relax. To relax means not to push too much energy, because that can also be counterproductive, which in my case was often the case. So the best tip I got from my Sifu was to relax, to breathe, and then start over again, maybe with the same energy, but better structures. And that's also the second best tip I got from my Sifu, which is have a structure. With that I mean that you don't have to push yourself always to go to training or go to classes and stuff, but to have structure, like on Monday, on Wednesday and on Friday are my training days, and those days are not negotiable. If it's a Monday, I will do this lesson. If it's a Wednesday, I will do that training. I will do my minimum of repetitions, which I have noted on my structures, for example. That helped me a lot, like a way to live, like a way to train, always to be on track. Maybe something happens and you got a little bit off track, but as you have your structure, you go back easily, so no problem for you then. And the third tip from my Sifu, which for me was very, very valuable, was to trust in the process of teaching. At that time, the last free evening in the week on which I had my class was cancelled because I was teaching. I was teaching again another class. So from Monday to Friday, I was teaching all week, and there was no space for my class, for my training, for my lessons with my Sifu. So I asked my Sifu, what should I do now? I will stop where I am because I'm only teaching, I'm not learning anymore. That was in a Starbucks when he told me, listen, you have to trust in the process of teaching, which cannot not impact you positively, your martial art, your way of thinking. Because even if you are teaching every evening, that means every evening you are thinking about our martial art, you are thinking about the students, you are thinking about the techniques, and that's the reason why you will not lose anything. On top of that, you can take private lessons, which I do now for many, many years, which is for me the perfect program. As I grow up and got Sifu, of course, if you get Sifu, you also even more have to train by yourself, you have to think by yourself. I occasionally have lessons with my Sifu, like private lessons. Then we have like a once a week meeting where we practice together, the Sifus and the school leaders. And that's it. The rest of it is self-training. At that moment there, when I made the change between having normal classes and teaching to only teaching, that was the best tip he could give me. Trust in the process of teaching.
Hey there, my name is Rokas and I run the YouTube channel called Martial Arts Journey. I used to be a kiddo for 15 years and eventually I quit it and moved on to MMA, including Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, etc. And the best tips that I received over my martial arts career is to focus on consistency versus intensity, or in other words, to take your time in a productive way, of course. And the reason I'm saying that is because too many times I went for the extreme myself. I thought I'm just gonna train for 6 months like crazy, like 12, 15 times per week, and then after 6 months it's gonna be amazing. But the truth is that doesn't happen. You just burn yourself out, the body cannot take it, your mind becomes fuzzy, it doesn't recover, and you don't focus as much and you don't learn as much, and your body even doesn't progress because there's this thing called overtraining. If you do too much training, you actually don't benefit from the training, it just actually makes you worse. And I've been in that situation way too many times, but instead when I started to train regularly, less but regularly, so consistency versus intensity, let's say training 3 times or 4 times per week, but then doing it for a long time, that's when I started to feel the progress really well. And it takes time, but then there's no other way really around that, in my opinion, unless maybe you're 20, you know, I'm getting older. It's getting harder for the body to recover. Maybe if you're like young, 16 or something, still you need to mind consistency versus intensity. You can push harder, but there's a limit. And the other one is to trust the process, because sometimes, especially in combat sports, you may feel like you're not getting better and everyone is kicking your ass and you're training for a half a year, but still everyone is better than you. But the thing is, you are getting better. It's just one thing is you're training usually with other people who are also getting better together with you, and then you get better, but they get better as well, and you don't feel that progress until a new person comes in and suddenly you kick their ass. But then you don't always get that opportunity, or sometimes you just have a bad day and that may question your skills. But what I consider to be important is what I call mat time, and it depends if you have a mat or not, but essentially by what I mean by that is you go to the gym, you go to the dojo, and you spend time there, and every moment you spend there, every moment you train or you learn something, you will get better. And even if it doesn't feel like it at that moment, you are getting better. So trust the process, just keep grinding, keep going, and you will have those days where you feel like, oh crap, I learned so much. And then you'll have these days when you'll think like, oh shit, I didn't learn anything. That's normal. Just keep going.
And I also want to give you now my best advice that I ever heard, and this comes from my instructor. He told me, well, okay, when you do a sparring session, let's film each other. Let's see what we can then take out of the footage. And really, this was a game changer for me, because when you now see from the outside how you perform in sparring, how you perform even in the gym, when you record when you see all the fitness influencers that record themselves in the gym, that also has the purpose. When you then re-watch this footage, you see, oh, okay, I'm arching my back. That is not good form. And you can then repeat it the next time with proper form. The same goes for martial arts. For example, when you do a form, when you do a traditional martial art, when you do a form, you record yourself and you see, okay, my footwork is not in position, my footwork is not aligned. Maybe I'm punching here out there and I would want to punch straight in the face. Those are all those nitty-gritty little details that you find out only when you watch yourself from outside. Maybe you don't have every time somebody who is watching you, you train for your own, then you need some certain outback feedback. And I saw it especially in my sparring sessions with my instructor. There's so much details that I see, that I'm dropping my hands, that my footwork is not good, that I'm not like making the right moves at the right time. And exactly this footage, this analysis, I upload also here on YouTube. I will link it as well in the video description if you're interested in seeing authentic Kung Fu sparring and what you can maybe also get away for your martial art in your respective style from this sparring footage. It's really interesting and really helps me big time. And now for sure, I'm also wondering, what is your best tip that you ever got or heard? Please add it to the comments. Maybe also other people can learn something from you. That's why we want to have a community here. Add them in the comments and go a little bit also through the comments, because I think it's going to be pretty funny what we are seeing then down there. And for sure, I will also link all the other YouTubers down in the video description. Maybe you don't know some of them, then please go out, check their channel. They also have a lot of good tutorials, a lot of good knowledge, good edited videos all about martial arts, and I really want to spread the love and the community here in martial arts. And with all these good tips being heard, you now want to watch also the worst tips that all the martial arts influencers have for you. You can watch this video here. Let's see you there.